This is Michael Orrell of MobileBurn.com, and today I have with me the Motorola i9. It is the newest and thinnest member of the Sprint Nextel family of push-to-talk handsets. You can see the device looks very much like the Motorola Razr 2 series that came out a while ago. It's two flat slabs that are linked together with a beefy hinge here in the middle. It's kind of similar to that of the BlackBerry Pearl Flip in terms of the hinge design, except this one's much more solid. Very flat keypad with little raised nubs here for pressing on it, which works okay for the keypad, but the D-pad, it's actually a bit difficult to use. The sweet spots for the buttons are a little bit too slim. This button right here is the main menu button. We press that to bring up the main menu instead of the dedicated buttons in the center we've seen in the past. Press that, and there's the main menu, and this is a new, what they call a tabbed view of the home page. Some oddities in it, though. You can move into certain sections and back out normally. Others exit totally out of the main menu, which is kind of strange. Like if we go into the Tools menu here, you can see we select that to move in, and then we can hit the right soft key and go back, whereas the last one just took us to the home screen again, which is kind of odd. It's inconsistent. It's just not a good idea. I'm not really a fan of the main menu being there. It's not obviously a button for a menu either. If you take a look at it, that hardly screams main menu to you. But anyway, in terms of physical design, on the left side here we have the speaker on-off button, because this is a Nextel device. This is the volume control. There's the dedicated push-to-talk button. We don't have any push-to-talk contacts, so there's not much I can do there. Right here we have a micro USB connector for power and USB connectivity. Camera shutter button for the 3.1 megapixel autofocus camera, so you can press it in a little bit and it gathers focus, and then press it all the way to take the picture. Right here is a sliding lock control that locks all the external buttons, and this button here pulls up a limited menu on the external display. See, I press that there, and we get the main menu, or not the main menu, but a main menu. You can use these otherwise hidden touch-sensitive buttons to go through the menu and pick something. We'll go into the camera. You can see a bunch of other buttons will come up across the screen, across the top here, and down at the bottom. My finger keeps getting in the way of the camera because of its position, but if you hold it perfectly like this, it'll be okay. If you get your finger over there just a little bit, it's going to get in the way. In any event, you can quickly turn on the flash. Show you here. See my hand lighting up and going dark. Works pretty well. There's also quick access to viewing the photos, and you can always get out just by pressing this X button. In this case, it asks me to confirm. Other functionality, call lists, there's also music, but the music on the device is kind of weak. It uses a very old style player that we haven't seen in Motorola devices for a while, as far as I can recall. The device does have a micro SD card. You have to remove the rear cover to get to it, but you don't have to remove the battery. So we'll hit play here. There's a couple of Ferrari ringtones to install. This is a Ferrari 40. And various normal ringtones, and there are classic ringer styles as well eventually. But supports playlists and things like that. It's just very cumbersome. It's very old style. It's very much like you would see in a Motorola handset from a couple of years ago, and that's one of the real problems with the device in general. It's the software. The hardware is pretty good design except for perhaps the D-pad, but the software is really just difficult to use. It's not particularly slow, but it does have animations and some cool things. We can change the settings around to a more conventional icon grid view if we want. There's two themes as well. So you can mix things up a bit, but in general it's just not that impressive. And you can see it with the animated icons here and exploding animations and stuff. It's just not intuitive. It's just hard to view. I mean, it's kind of cool looking, but it's just not very practical. And that kind of sums up the device in general. Cool looking, but not very practical. I mean, even though it does have the 3.1 megapixel camera, which is nice, and the external controls, which are nice, it's not easy to use. If you're already a diehard Motorola user and you're used to the UI quirks and things like that, this probably won't bother you, and you'll really like the new form factor and such. But overall, it's not a device I'm really in love with, in spite of the overall good-looking hardware design. So that's the Motorola i9, our first look, and I'm Michael Orrell for MobileBurn.com.